1. The man in the vents. In the late 1980s, a woman in Denver, Colorado, began noticing small things moving in her apartment, food missing from the fridge, furniture slightly out of place, and an eerie sensation of being watched. She assumed she was just forgetful, but things escalated when she started waking up in the middle of the night, hearing faint rustling sounds in the walls. One evening, she set up a camcorder while she was out. When she played the tape back, she saw something horrifying: a gaunt, pale man crawling out of an air vent in the ceiling, creeping through her apartment, opening her fridge, and even standing over her bed while she slept. Police later discovered that the man had been living inside the ventilation system of the apartment complex, using it to enter different units. He had been watching her for months. 2. The disappearing hotel room. In 1889, a woman and her daughter traveled to Paris for the Exposition Universal. The mother fell ill upon arrival, and the hotel doctor was called. He examined her and then asked the daughter to fetch medicine from a pharmacy across town. When she returned, her mother was gone. The room was completely different wallpaper, different furniture, no luggage. The staff denied ever seeing her or her mother. Even the hotel registry had no record of them. The daughter, hysterical, was taken to the police, but no one believed her. Years later, a former hotel employee revealed the truth: the mother had died of a highly contagious disease. To prevent a panic, the hotel had covered up her death by removing all traces of her existence. 3. The smiling man. A man in Seattle was walking home late one night when he saw another man on the other side of the street. This man was bizarrely dressed, wearing a suit that looked decades out of style, and he had a strange, inhuman smile plastered across his face. The smiling man suddenly began moving in an unnatural way, almost dancing, and then started walking toward him. The man tried to cross the street to avoid him, but the smiling man mirrored his movements. No matter which way he went, the man followed, his unsettling grin never changing. Terrified, the man sprinted to his apartment building. As he looked out his window, he saw the smiling man standing outside, staring up at him. That was the last time he ever saw him, but for months, he had the constant feeling that someone was watching him. 4. The calls from the grave. In 2008, a commuter train in California crashed, killing 25 people. Among them was a man named Charles Peck. For the next 12 hours after the crash, his family received multiple calls from his phone. His fiancée, his son, his brother, and his parents all reported receiving calls, but whenever they answered, there was only silence. Rescue teams tried to locate him using his cell signal, believing he was trapped but alive. When they finally reached him, they discovered he had died on impact. His phone was never found. To this day, no one knows how his phone kept making calls long after he had passed. 5. The vanishing hitchhiker. In 1975, a man driving along a dark country road in Chicago picked up a young woman hitchhiker. She was pale and quiet, wearing an old-fashioned white dress. She gave him an address and remained silent the whole ride. When he arrived at the address, he turned to speak to her, only to find the seat empty. Confused, he knocked on the door of the house. An elderly couple answered and sighed when he described the girl. She had been their daughter. She had died in a car accident on that very road 10 years earlier. Every few years, someone would come knocking, saying they had just given her a ride home.